Welcome to Pod Chef, the only official Top Chef podcast featuring your host and top player. That's me, baby. It's Reeves. And I'm joined by my two best friends, Brian and Jamal. Guys, how's your week been?
Brian, go first.
Ooh, my week has been wild. Work is crazy, and I have too many things going on outside of work. It sucks.
My week has been nuts too. Too much going on at work. Too much going on outside of work. I got so many places to go, not enough time. And Cyberpunk came out there. I dated the episode.
Well, that's fine because we're very far behind. Like at this point, this episode will come out next week, so like that's fine.
Cyberpunk's a big deal, right? That's
it's such a huge deal to a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot of people use.
So I'm like a Reddit person. I'm like on Reddit sometimes. I don't post really. I just like look at things.
You're a lurker.
He's a lurker.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a lurker. I have an account because they made me do one, but. So people, you want to Cyberpunk 2077 is a long title for a thing. So people are trying to like shorten it. And someone said like, here's a clip of me playing like CP. And everyone was like, you can't say CP. And apparently CP is bad for stuff. And I thought it meant something like race related, but it does not. On Reddit, it means something else.
What does it mean?
Colored people.
Well, no, that's what I thought it meant. But to these people, they said that it meant, I'm not going to say those words because it's going to like probably like tag our podcast, but like child and then like a P word that would be very bad to put after child.
Uh-oh. Oh, child parents.
Yes, child parents.
Yes, child parents.
I hate when kids are raising kids.
It's sad. It's sad.
Child parents are bad on Reddit. If you are a child and you recently became a parent, my condolences, but also congratulations.
Hey, you know what? If you're an adult and recently became a parent, my condolences and congratulations.
Yeah,
it seems hard.
Anyone who recently had a kid, congratulations. Also, so sorry for your loss.
Well, now we got to talk about Top Chef. It's the podcast, and listen, guys. So I don't know if you have noticed it, but the podcast is like a little bit different lately, right? With me hosting.
Yeah.
And I have felt a lot of anxiety about it, but I was thinking like, I guess it still is like floating along.
Oh, despite the fact that anxiety about it, I couldn't tell.
Okay, good. I feel like I'm covering it up pretty well.
You are.
Yep. Well, anyway, so I guess Tom has been listening, and he showed up at my house the other day.
Okay, I gotta ask.
Whoa.
Did he have a mask on?
Did he have a mask on?
Yeah.
Well, he was in a hazmat suit, but it did not have the plastic thing on it. So it was just him in like a yellow suit, but it didn't have the cover thing on it.
That's classic Tom.
Yes. And I was like, what's the purpose of this? And he was like, I went fishing. And I was like, what?
Oh, so he was doing a Gordon Fisherman.
Yes, that's right. And he said, can I come in? And I was like, well, I mean, you should put a mask on. And then he just kind of like forced himself in. And he kind of like looked around. He was like, yeah, good house.
He said good house?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, good house.
Hold on a second. Tom, we all know if anything, you say nice house. Even if you don't mean it, you say nice house. So the fact you said good house, I'm sorry, Reeves. I'm sorry.
It was definitely meant sarcastic, but I feel like it was almost like he had that one kind of in the barrel ready to fire, but he needed me to say something to then respond with, yeah, good house. But he got a little nervous and just said it really quick.
Yeah. That's
so immediately the interaction was a little contentious. And he said, listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. Okay. He's like,
take off his shoes.
He did not take off his shoes. My house is so dirty and it smells like fish. It smells so bad. He also he had like a huge bass in his hand. He was like, mind if I clean this? And I was like, I guess, can you do it outside? And then he just went into my kitchen and just started like completely butchering it. Anyway, This was all to say that he was like, listen, we got to get down to it. He's like, your podcast is in the shitter right now. It is garbage. And he was like, and it's largely down to you. And he pointed it right. He got his finger right in my face when he said that.
And it smelled like fish, right?
Yeah, and I like kind of like gagged a little bit because it smelled so bad. And he was like, "Suck it up." He was like, "Listen, I appointed you as the host because you're like a team captain. I want you to be a team captain." And I kept reiterating to him, I was like, "Listen, I don't think this is something that I'm good at. I don't want to do that. I would much rather respond to things. I feel like I'm better at that." And he said, "No, I'm not hearing any of this." He was like, "Listen, you got to put in more effort." He's like, first thing you need to start out with is you need to come up. He's like, I don't understand how you don't have an opening theme song. You got to come up with the opening theme song. Yeah. And I was like, listen, we've been working on that. He was like, no. You need to work on it. You've got to do one. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm not. I mean, out of the three of us, I think I'm probably the least musical, right?
I disagree, but
Brian's definitely number one, right?
Music? I mean, Brian's a number two after you. I think I'm the least musical. I think for sure Brian walks and kind of has a soundtrack. I think I'm the least musical out of the two of you.
So you think that I walk and have a soundtrack, but I'm still number two behind Reeves?
Yeah, because Reeves, it's like Reeves doesn't have a walking soundtrack. Reeves has when I went to his house and he opened the door, it was like a eureka sound happened. Mm-hmm. And it was like I was entering a new dimension. So like Reeves has like sounds around him. Of
like a soundscape,
like a soundscape. Whereas you are like the backing track for a video game, and like we're just walking around the city.
Yeah, and the video game is Mega Man.
Yeah, the video game's Mega Man.
Mm-hmm. I really thought this was going to get to me talking about my time on iMusical, but whatever. Let's keep going.
Oh, were you on iMusical?
Nope, it's not going in that direction. But anyway, Tom was like, you got it. This is on you. You've got to come up with it. He's like, if you start strong, which is with an opening theme song, he's like, then the rest of the podcast will pick up from there. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, all right, I got to get out of here.
Did he clean that fish?
He really didn't. I think he just kind of butchered it and just got a lot of blood and guts everywhere. And then he was like, can you finish this off for me? And then also mail it to me in New York. I was like, I don't know how that's possible. And he was like, he's like, you just chop it up and then you just put it in the ocean and it will naturally find its way up. I don't know. Anyway, so he left. He said he had to get on to the Top Chef jet and get back to New York. So
did he do his famous sign off when he left? When he left your house?
His famous sign off?
Yeah.
Not really.
Oh, okay. He usually says Colicchio out.
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, he did he said he said chef vanish, and then I turned around and there was smoke everywhere.
And now we're back to turtles again. And this is rocky road for us.
Yeah. So that was my interaction with Tom. Very surprising weekend.
Yeah, that is.
At least he didn't say that he had a message from you and slap you in the face.
He wasn't violent, but he was just very aggressive. Yeah.
I got you sent a Christmas card out. Tom sent me a card and it said, just wanted you to know I'm 10 minutes away from your apartment visiting Reeves and I'm not coming to see you.
Wow.
Yeah, and it had a whole Shutterfly stitching and all kinds of pictures and stuff. It was very well done. It was very festive. Yeah, it was very festive. It had holographic print. It had glitter on it. It was a whole thing. It was him holding up a Top Chef trophy that I think put his name on it. And he said, "Happy holidays. I'll be visiting those I love." So,
jeez, he went right out of his way.
Yeah, and then he wrote a separate thing on top of it. I was like, okay, Tom, I get it. You don't like my hosting. You don't find me funny. I get it.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's really rough. And he is. It seems like he's getting more aggressive with like how he feels like we are performing in the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's just COVID is taking its toll on Tom. He's an outdoor creature. He can't be caged.
Reeves, I was hoping your story would end with you singing a song. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, I guess it has to. Now, I want to warn everyone that I have worked I've worked very, very hard and thought a lot about this song. It may sound like I'm like making it up on the spot or whatever, but I'm not. I have really tried hard because I'm trying to make Tom happy. Because like full disclosure, he's also funding this podcast. We all make like a shit ton of money off this podcast and he is funding it. So I don't want that, revenue stream to dry up because the podcast can't go on without it.
No, we need that cash. This costs a lot of money. I got to buy a 200-foot Ethernet cable.
Yep. So I guess, do I have to do the song now?
Seems like you do.
It seems like Brian's teed you up for it. So I think so.
Okay. Here we go.
This is something, just for the audience, I would never do. I would have found a way to deflect, but Reeves, being the most musical, is going to do it.
Just gotta think about it. Just okay. Okay, I could do it. All right. Pawn Chef. 3 amigos. Welcome to Tom Chef. Welcome to Pawn Chef. It's Tom Chef and it's Pawn Chef and they're doing the thing and they're doing the thing and they're reviewing the episode. That's it. That's all I've gotten. Now, I want to make it clear that I've done a lot of work on the lyrics.
It shows.
Yes.
Well, it sounded like two different people were on this song.
Yeah. And that's what I want to go for. It's like that. It's like a whole chorus of people singing and it's like different voices and stuff like that. This is a bit of my like opus, I guess, that I'm working on now.
Can I ask you who was doing the lyrics on the second half of that?
Who is singing?
Yeah, who is that singing on the second half of that?
It was just like it was someone with like a nice baritone voice. Yeah. I think
But they don't have a name.
They don't have a name yet. Why did it sound like someone you knew?
That's what it did. It sounded like someone I knew, and I was like, I can't put my finger on it. It sounds like one of my friends for sure. I can't really say who.
So what did you guys have for dinner?
I'll start. I had baked salmon, sweet potatoes, and broccoli. Go ahead, Brian. Tell us about the pizza you had.
I didn't have pizza. So, okay. I'm trying to make this fast. So we were supposed to record this episode a few days ago, and we did a full-on. We made chana masala. We full-on did that with chickpeas, and it was great. And then we canceled the record. And then so yesterday we went to run some errands, which involved going to Cobble Hill, where Gail Simmons lives. I didn't see her. I looked for her. And
shout out to Gail.
Shout out to Gail. And we did some things, and we got burritos, which was going to be for lunch. That was going to be our lunch. It was going to be burritos. And then we got pulled over by the cops.
What?
Who was driving?
And I was driving.
Oh.
And so two things. One of the cops had like patches on his uniform, and one was a thin blue line, like American flag thing.
Ew.
And directly under that was a "Why So Serious?" Dark Knight like Joker thing.
Oh, that's good.
So first of all, I am more than prepared to like get my ass kicked when this happens. Plus, the cop who like comes to my window is like license and registration, and I immediately go, "Why'd you pull me over?" I'm heated. I'm so angry.
Nice. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's how I often respond to a police officer when I'm pulled over.
Why'd you pull me over?
No, I usually say very heated. I'm like, why'd you pull me over?
I was like, what is going on? And he was like, give me your stuff and then I'll tell you. I'm like, whatever. So I give him the license. I don't have a registration. Long story. We bought this car from Vroom. I'm going to drop them by name. And it was in June and they haven't given us our plates yet. They just haven't made it happen. We just don't have plates on this car. So they keep sending us temporary tags. And I had just put on temporary tags. And these tags that I had on say Texas 144-hour temporary plate. And the cop was like, those plates are illegal and also basically a forged plate because they aren't supposed to be used by people who are just like regular car people. It's supposed to be for like trucks in Texas. And how'd you get those plates? And I told him the story and he was like, let me run your stuff. Came back and he was like, okay, so the car is registered to you. Those plates are like those. You should not have those plates. He said, and I quote, we ran your ID. Neither of you have ever been arrested before. If you had been, you would have been arrested today. Because I guess because he he believed our story because we don't have like backgrounds that he didn't arrest us on the spot, which is what he was going to do.
Yeah, welcome to being black. You were almost black for a second.
If we like in all honesty, if like we had been people of color, we would for sure have been arrested because
welcome to it.
Yeah. Like he wanted to I think he thought that we had a stolen car or something.
Yeah, and think about that. The car's registered to you and he still would have arrested you because your plates are messed up. Even though it's not a stolen car, just because you may have had a bump in the past, you would have been at a second bump, which then gets that second strike on your record.
Would have ruined our lives. Like, I don't know if we would have been charged with anything because like when it all said and done, it's clearly Vroom's fault because they gave us these plates and told us to put them on our car.
Yeah, but they don't want to really charge you anything. They just want your money because it's going to cost you in court fees and stuff. So
yeah, it was crazy.
Blue lives matter, man.
They do. And why you're so serious? So we got home after this like delay.
Oh, did you ask him that when he said that? Did you say, "Hey, why so serious?"
That's what I was wondering. Instead of saying, "Why'd you pull me over?" Why didn't you look at him and say, "Why so serious?" Just like the freaking Joker did. And also, are you sure that it was not the Joker? Because if you remember,
I didn't see his face. Yeah,
the police at one point.
See, like a cop should not be allowed to have a Joker Dark Knight reference on his uniform or her because in Dark Knight they are bad people dressed as cops.
Yes.
I know why it is you're so afraid of the Batman.
What I should have said when he pulled me over is I should have said, you want to know how I got these plates?
My dad was a trucker in Texas.
So I bought this car from Vroom.
I feel like there was something going on that he might have been working for the Joker because when I think about it, it's like the Batmobile doesn't have plates on it, and so maybe he was like, "Oh, maybe this is Batman."
I'm surprised he didn't knock on the window and say, "Roll down the window, Bruce Wayne."
And then I think to save face, he had to come up with like that like tag thing. Oh, this guy's clearly not Bruce Wayne and Batman.
This guy has no record. I gotta go like put the fear in him now.
And all it made me do was hate cops more. Quit hassling me.
Hey, Brian, I was pulled over outside of a Metro parking garage. Literally, as I was pulling in, cop followed me into the Metro parking garage, pulled me over because I had a tail light out, and he said license registration. I gave it to him, and he said before he ran, he said anything on here I should know about, and I said just my personal information. He did not laugh.
You should have been like, it says 5'10", but I'm really 5'9.5".
Yeah, he literally took my stuff, and before he went back to the car, he's like, "Anything I should know about before I run this?" I was like, "Just has my personal information on it." So then he comes back, and he's like, you could like see the deflation of realizing I have no record, and he's like, "Well, I pulled you over because your light's out. Get your tail light fixed." And I'm like, okay. Got it. So if I had a record, this would have been a big problem.
They're just looking for shit to do. They're bored.
Yeah.
Everyone, we need the Joker to come back so cops can have something to do because they're bored and messing with us non-Jokers out there. So if you're the Joker out there listening to this, and I know you are, get back to doing what you do. Let's get some chaos going. These cops are bored.
Hey, do you know what they say? The people are starving, and they're starving for justice because justice is food for the people. And that's the title of episode 3 of season 2, Food for the People. The Quickfire Challenge, the chefs had to make original ice cream flavor at Redondo Beach Seaside Lagoon.
And I'm going to assume that Reeves had peanut
pizza.
butter or something for. Oh, you had pizza?
I did have pizza.
No, we'll never know.
No, we can't go back now. I did a smooth transition. We can't go back.
Smooth. We got to move on. We can't talk about it. We're in Food for the People now.
So yeah, they got to make a quickfire challenge. They got to make ice cream for the people. And they don't know that they're making it for kids until they get there, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who else do you think you would be making it for if you're like making ice cream and going outside to like a beach? Like, of course, kids are going to be the first ones to line up, right? What do you expect? But some contestants were a little surprised.
They heavy-handedly at the beginning of this quickfire, they were like, not like only 70% or 30% of Americans or whatever go to fine dining restaurants. So let's do something that's not fine dining. And then 4 of the contestants were like, "Oh, I'm still going to do something fucking crazy because I don't know how I don't know how normal people act and eat." Look at you, Marcel. You fucking wacko.
That was funny.
That was probably super funny.
And there's children lined up 300 deep.
I was hoping the demographic was not going to be a bunch of snotty little kids. It was a bunch of snotty little kids. I hate kids.
And I feel like it's a little harsh to like judge the health of the children.
Yeah.
Like just because all of those children had like a little bit of a cold that they were working with.
Yeah.
We need to call it out, right?
Kids have allergies. That's a wildly, like everyone knows that. So to be like, I hate these snotty kids. I don't know. It seems poor taste, which, you know, kind of like Marcel's avocado and bacon ice cream.
It's so gross. what a dummy.
And he talked himself up. He talked himself up when he was making. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going nuts. I'm gonna have these new flavors that, you know, people think don't go well together." And then Ilan tasted it, and he's like, "What do you think, Ilan?" And Ilan goes, "Yeah, sure, nice, nice."
I've gone on record saying that Emily looks like a baby that's become a human, that's become an adult without like her features changing. And I felt bad about it. But she comes for fat people in this episode also, so I'm totally okay with fucking tearing her apart. Because like later in this quickfire, she says that someone criticizes her ice cream for not being sweet enough. And she says, and I mostly quote, "That's the last thing you need with your 4 teeth and huge ass is more sugar." And as someone who is from a low-income southern town where lots of people are missing some teeth, yeah, look, we don't all have our teeth, okay? I got all mine except for the one in the back. It's fake because I had a root canal. But I don't have a huge ass either. I'm a big fat guy with no butt. I got no butt. I'm like, if you've seen the episode of King of the Hill when Hank Hill has no butt, that's what my butt looks like. So, but I still feel this. And if you want to come for my people, Emily, I'm coming for you. You look like a baby that is big. and your ice cream sucks. You don't know how to fucking deal with kids.
Yeah.
All right. I think that about evens you guys out. She got you got her. Let's just call it right there.
Yeah, her tactic of trying to like insult people into liking her ice cream and wanting to vote for her so she would win the quickfire, that backfired. It didn't work. Now, other people had the opposite approach and that they like tried to kind of, you know, be a little flirty with, well, not children, but
Though someone does say that
parents,
that the preteen girls are into it also.
Yes.
They like to say preteen girls.
That's true.
which takes us back to, of course, child parents. This episode.
Yeah. Sorry
It's
for your
getting
loss.
very
But also, congratulations.
I got voted one of New York's 10 sexy chefs, so it makes my ability to flirt better. So when the mothers are coming through with their children tasting the ice cream, and I get them a little riled up. Ginger snap and lime.
Like he said, he's one of the 10 sexiest chefs in New York. A hotly contested competition that he was one of 10.
Just got by.
Just got in there. He doesn't want to give us the number. He was just one of 10. Who knows what number it was? And he's really riling up a lot of the parents. So much so that they are just going crazy, screaming. It's basically Sam Mania out there in this ice cream line.
It's great to see. I mean, like in the first episode, we learned that Marissa was willing to use her sexuality to her advantage. She's yet to do it, but Sam listened and he was like, hey, I'm going to do that too. And it looks like it works because, I mean, ginger and lime, is that the flavor that he said?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. Sensual flavors.
It doesn't sound good, so it must have been the sexuality that did it.
Yeah, I feel like with like ice cream, if you just put enough sugar in it, you could probably pair it with almost anything else. I mean, don't do avocado and bacon. I don't know why you would do that. But yeah, ginger and lime. But it probably has a lot of sugar in it. So that might have been the reason that everyone was going crazy, is they were all on a sugar high.
Can I also say, don't do avocado and bacon outside of ice cream either. Get something else.
Yeah. That's
true. A good like topping for a sandwich. Like I don't eat pork anymore. I'm very much close to being vegetarian. But if you like on a sandwich, if it was like turkey, avocado, and bacon, that's a solid sandwich.
But you see how you need that other thing? It can't just be those two together. Those two are not. Those are the odd couple that we're all hoping get along. No, they need something else that like is the bridge.
Yeah, it's a good extra to put on something.
Well, I just want to say that one person who, doesn't come at me but does represent me does win the competition, Cliff, and he gets, some haters for winning. So listen to this.
I'm feeling less confident because Cliff won, but honestly, I don't really think it had anything to do with the quality of his ice cream.
Uh-oh.
Wow, that's interesting considering it's an ice cream competition.
What does she think he won for?
Yeah. Oh, I get it. It's okay. I hate when this happens. She thinks Cliff won. And I hate to say it.
I know.
Because he's bald.
And it's because he's it's probably a good thing that she brought it up because I think it's it's a favoritism that Tom is showing.
Yeah. It's it's like you think that he won because he's the other bald guy on the show, and it's like, well, you can say that, but the kids also loved his ice cream, and that's the point of this. So I just feel like I hate hearing this discrimination against bald people. I hate hearing stuff like "get a job, baldy."
Look, Cliff chose flavors that are ice cream flavors. It's like cookies and chocolate and marshmallows. Those are ice cream flavors. Like, so that's a solid ground to start. Does it hurt that he's bald? No. And I think that's okay. I think if you get a few extra points for being bald, great. That's equity. Like we're getting there. And I think it's important. Tom opened the bald door.
Yeah.
And he's keeping it open for other bald people. And that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we want. You want people to open doors all around. So that's good on Tom. Good on Cliff for just making it practical. A lot of people don't respect when you make practical decisions and execute well. That's what I've noticed about the world at large. When you make practical decisions and execute the basics well, people really don't appreciate that. They always want like a flashy. Man, that's what Marcelo's going for. Flashy bacon and avocado. Oh, this'll surprise everyone. No, it didn't surprise anyone because as soon as hearing it made everyone want to puke. So
I think the only person it surprised was Marcel, just because he was so confident that people would be like into it, and everyone hearing it knew it would taste like shit. The people that tasted it said it tasted like shit. And
People
like
were
the
spitting it out.
reactions of him, like after, like people would tell, like there were clips of people telling him to his face, they're like, ew, this is not good. And like I love the honest reaction of him just kind of being defeated, like being like, really? Oh, okay. Well, I guess some people liked it. Also, Marcel is the type of person that he's kind of like always has a half smile. He's like talking through his teeth all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just, it kind of just like his tone is just kind of condescending, just like baseline, and sounds like that. But you should take, risks. You should try new things out, but I think you still need to like keep in mind that like if you're making something sweet, put in the normal sweet flavors as well, which like Cliff was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do good ice cream.
What I want in my ice cream, this.
Yeah.
So.
The good stuff. So Cliff takes it home. He's won. Nothing to do with him being bald. He's just a good chef. And we move on to our elimination challenge.
This is a good one. I think this is like a fun, like, this whole episode is like, like we're super snobby here at Top Chef. We're going to do something for the normal people, for the regular folks out there. And so they bring in guest judge Stephen Volger. Did I write that wrong? Ellis. Stephen Volger Ellis. From TGI Fridays, folks. We're going there. We're doing what you want to see. We're creating a dish for TGI Fridays. You have to take a childhood favorite and make it for adults. And they're going to serve it to firemen. And whoever wins gets to be on the menu of TGI Fridays.
Now, this in the episode, right away, they mention that Mike has worked at TGIF. And you're like, oh, he's got a leg up, right? But let's hear him talk about his background a little bit.
Tom, what's happening?
So I hear you have some experience with TGIF.
Yeah, I used to work there about 9 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make like a steak sandwich with 3 different kinds of cuts.
You think this is stuff that firemen will sort of dig?
My brother's a firefighter, so...
You have too many inside tracks.
So when I hear that, the fact that he worked at TGIF a decade ago, he has a brother who's a firefighter, he's cooking for firefighters, and he's just taking a childhood classic and making it more adult, I think, oh crap, Mike's going to win.
Yeah, it seems like he has a good leg up. And I mean, I don't know if did you guys see those deleted scenes where it's like they had to clip out the amount of times that Mike would reference how many years ago he had been an employee at TGI Fridays. And it's just like every time he brought it up, the time frame got shorter and shorter. So it like started as like 10, 9, and then like a little bit later, he's like, 4 years ago. And like, at the very end, he was like, I was working there like last week.
So they cut all that out because that's not as fun
as
the fact that you may have worked here 10 years ago.
He works at TGI Fridays. His brother's a firefighter, and he is an adult child. Like, favorite part about this is it's a big joke that he worked at TGI Fridays. Everyone, like, you can hear in Tom's voice, he has like a smile in his voice when he's like, "Yeah, I heard you worked at TGI Fridays," and like, and the subtext is like, "You poor uncultured fucking swine," like.
Because he had to do that take like 3 times because he couldn't get through it the first couple of times because he came in, he was like, "So I heard you freaking work at DJ Friday." I'm sorry, guys. Let's take it again.
Can we take it again? Okay. You work TGI Friday. You heard you work TGI Friday. Okay. I'm ready. All right. 3, 2, 1. Gosh, I just can't. Do people really do that?
It was great because he was like, before he, Tom comes into the kitchen and like talks with everyone ahead of time, the producers kind of pulled him before he went in and was like, "Hey, just so you know, one of the contestants, we're not going to say who, worked at TGI Fridays, so try and guess." And he immediately just made a beeline right to Mike because he knew, he was like, out of all these people, this guy definitely worked at Fridays.
Yeah, and then he also like yelled out. He said, based on his past food that he's made, it's all been TGI Friday like food. So I assume it's Mike. So,
Mm-hmm.
and another thing you don't hear is that when he leaves the table, he says, "FYI, I know you worked at TGI Fridays, but they don't actually make food." So he like gave him a dig, and like Mike looked deflated, and you'll hear that like that like animosity later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there, and it comes back up later.
But they cook, right? They're cooking, and then Mike, does his sandwich. Why don't we hear what the firefighters thought of his sandwich? What do you think?
Wow, messy.
I think they're a little bit overcooked. So what do you think?
It's just not a lot of flavor in it.
No, it's greasy, it's chewy,
It's like its presentation.
it's very sloppy.
I mean, that's TGI Fridays to a T, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like he was trying to do that food.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
what's the issue? It's greasy, it's sloppy, its presentation is all over the place. Every time I order at TGI Fridays, that's how my food comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I go there for. I don't want a pristine plate.
No, I want to leave TGI Fridays with a grease stain on my shirt
Yeah.
and French fries in my pocket. Like I didn't go there to have a fancy, clean meal.
Like this isn't mise en place. I'm at TGI Fridays. Give me the slop. I'm a pig.
I want so bad. Now TGI Fridays, give me the slop. I'm a pig.
Mike his sandwich doesn't go over very well. But then Marcel is like trying to use the deep fryer right after Mike, and like apparently the deep fryer was turned down, and like he's in a panic, and then Elliot tries to help him out, and Marcel is so appreciative that he recounts the help he got from Elliot himself.
Elliot came back in the kitchen and she was like trying to help me. She was like, Marcel, take the onion rings out of the basket. They're going to get soggy. No, I was like, I'm just going to leave them like in there, maybe by some slim chance, like that I'm going to be able to salvage this project. But in the end, it didn't work.
Marcel, take the onion rings out of the basket.
I think it's nice that he does her accent, just to like make her, aware that he's aware.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, this is a little fun thing that I like to do with my friends. I do impressions of them back to them, during a confessional. And it's really great. And he's like, and I do really great impressions.
So him and Betty, Marcel and Betty, have this fantastic passive aggressive fight during this moment, during this like cook. And it's so fun and great because Marcel is complaining that his fryer is too cold to fry. And Betty's like, well, then you just got to deal with it. That's what happens. I'm glad that you had this against you because you suck and I hate you. And she calls him a bastard. And then when Betty goes to cook, it doesn't like the like fry top doesn't work.
Loud and very like obtrusive.
Anything that'll you up is fake.
Why is that? What did I do to you? You just don't like me or what?
You're a selfish, self-centered, egotistical bastard. That's just my simple opinion of it.
Betty confronts me with a bunch of issues that apparently had been bottled up in the past. I'm just astonished and appalled, utterly appalled that she's trying to call me out like this. Any sort of disadvantage, like
Marcel, I would be happy to continue with this as soon as Sam is done. I do not want to detract from what he's doing.
Thanks, Betty.
So I don't know if it's been discussed that Marcel doesn't have a dad.
Oh, is that a thing?
Well, she called him a bastard.
I don't think it's been discussed. And if he didn't want people to know, then that's not a nice way to out him.
Yeah, that's not that. He should be able to bring that up on his own, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a huge fight. Keep going, Brian.
Betty, Marcel gets. Oh God, I bet it feels so good for him in this moment when she goes to use the fry top and it's not working, and he's like, "Oh, what's that? The fry top's a little too cold for you to cook everything, huh? Oh, "Oh, that sucks, huh?" And it's just like this, like, oh god, like I can only just imagine how like, oh, he's just like, oh god, I got her back so good.
Yeah. He was happy with himself. He had like a shit-eating grin on his face when he said that. He was like, huh, oh, is it the same thing I was complaining about happened to you? And it's not very fun to deal with? Oh.
And it all ended with all the contestants cheering her on as she finished up.
Yeah. Everyone kept saying, Betty, Betty, Betty.
They were all behind her. They don't. No one seems to like Marcel.
Yeah.
The divide is clear now. It's everyone against Marcel. I don't know if there's like stuff that they don't show that happened because like he's kind of annoying, but like for everyone to hate him seems like unnecessary at this point. And I guess it's just like maybe just like one of those people that just kind of everyone hates, which kind of sucks. Because like he's kind of a dick too, but it's probably he's developed that defense mechanism because he's been treated like shit most of his life. Like he's been got like no one likes him forever. So now he's like, okay, well, I'll just be a dick back to everybody. So it's a little sad. But it's nice to see him get a win. Right, that just for a second he gets a win, but then everyone cheers on Betty. It's like, okay, well, back to my miserable life.
And speaking of getting a win, Sam, Cliff, and Betty finish in the top 3 in this elimination. And who do we think wins this one again? Oh yeah, that's right. Betty wins this one, which means Betty was able to take on all the heartache of Marcel literally trying to sabotage her the same way he felt he was sabotaged, even though he wasn't. And she still got the W. And I'm surprised if I was Betty, I would have came to the back and be like, yo, Marcel, what's up? I won. Yep. You're trash. You're a crybaby trash cook. You can't do what I do. You can't hold my jock. Back up off me. Don't touch the griddle anymore. And I think Betty does something like that, but Marcel's just not around to hear it. So let's listen.
Betty.
Thank you so much.
So that's how you win, and you let everyone know that you won. You scream so loud that everyone in the back, who is definitely one of them's going home, can hear. So good for Betty for taking shots fired.
So Brian, I have a question for you.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. So now that I hear that laugh, that clip reminded me of something. Is the cop that pulled you over, did it look like Betty? Because that laugh sounds like that of the Joker. And I'm thinking that if the Joker pulled you over, then, I'm just connecting the dots here.
So I didn't see, so that cop was on the passenger side where my wife was sitting, and I didn't see this cop's face. So it could have been Betty. And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's Betty. And
100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's Betty. We don't know. We now know what she's done after Top Chef, and it is being a cop in New York and threatening to arrest my wife and I for having illegal plates that we were given to by a company that sold us the car. We were joking that if we got thrown in jail, we would say that we had children at home. And then when like CPS shows up and just sees our 2 dogs.
Technically your children, right?
Like, these are our children.
I just would love to see that. It might have been worth getting arrested just to have them be like, there's kids in here. It's like our 2 bad dogs like barking at them. There's some weird stuff in this judging table. They keep saying that Elon's dish is craveable. They say craveable twice, and I wonder if that's like because the TGI Friday guy was like, we're looking for food that's craveable. So like Gail's like, Elon's dish was craveable. And Elon's dish was like corn cooked in bacon, which is great.
Which is a good combo for bacon. Corn and bacon. Okay.
Yeah, corn and bacon sounds good because it wasn't an ice cream.
Can you imagine that? A corn and bacon ice cream? Ugh. Marcel would try that.
I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to not mention Frank's dish, which is this like fucking mushroom on a cucumber. It's insane.
It is insane. Like it's crazy. It looks like the cover of like a Dr. Seuss book. Like it doesn't make sense what he's tried to put together.
Yeah, and he's upset. He's like, I don't know why I'm here. And they're like, this shit's fun.
Because he doesn't understand that they would literally have to like put that together every time they made that plate at TJ Friday.
Yeah.
As we know, they just slap it on a plate and give it to those hogs.
Do you think Mike could make the kind of dish when he's working at TJ Friday? I can't do it. It's just so funny that someone would have like this low-paying job. I just don't get it. Making food for the majority of America? Like, what? That's a real thing.
And there's a lot of talent like coming off of you now.
It's rubbing off.
Real quick, by the way, if anyone hears any noises in the background, that is my my little French chef here. He is he's butchering a goose. He found it in the backyard, and of course he's a French chef. He likes to do everything like get really the freshest ingredients and cook stuff. So if you hear that background noise, that's what's going on. He's cooking a goose.
Yeah, just know if you hear that noise, there is a goose being slaughtered in Reeves's house by a French chef. Mike was also in the bottom 3 for his steak sandwich, which we heard they hated. He was surprised that he was in the bottom 3, and his response to being surprised to being in the bottom 3 is wanting to fight Tom Colicchio.
Mm-hmm. He did. I'll beat the out of all those
Dude, sit down.
I need more booze.
You sit down by yourself.
Tom, dude, we're gonna duke it out before this thing's over. If I start.
Watching this scene with my wife is when she said, "I think you're Mike." It's when she said, because that's my thing. As soon as the cops left and I rolled the windows, I was like, I'm gonna fucking fuck that cop up like very quickly. Just like started talking all sorts of shit.
He was like, well, why didn't you say that to the cop's face? You're like, well, next time I see the cop, next time I see it, I'll say that. Another fun point is right when oh my God, my little French dog chef is losing his mind.
Can your sous chef understand that you got to kill it or you got to start? Now you're just playing with your food at this point.
It seems like
torture.
He says this. Some guy he's saying something about foie gras. I don't know.
No,
and that is torture. So that makes sense. Yeah.
But back to the show. When they get back from getting the freaking riot act from the judges, like Emily almost immediately bursts into tears, but like she kind of comes back, and then it's like, out of the corner, you see just like Mike is just chugging a beer immediately. He just kind of appears and he's just immediately chugging booze. He might have a bit of an alcohol problem, but
he can't take criticism. We know that. We found that out this episode.
Definitely not.
We didn't mention Emily's food, but she is in the bottom 3, and it's because her food is inedibly salty. It's what they say about it. And they ask her about it, and she's like, yeah, I thought it was salty. And they're like, that's salty? And that's when we get another Cooking 101.
I can't eat this.
This is Cooking 101. I'm sorry if you taste your food and you know it's over-seasoned, fix it or don't serve it.
There we go, folks. You're getting free education from Pod Chef here. You should skip Cooking 101, go to Cooking 102, which I guess is when they learn to not put their hair in the food or something. I don't know. Just something a little more high tech than don't oversalt your food and throw it away.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple for all the home chefs out there. If you're cooking for your family, you taste the food, you're like, oh, this is oversalted, but you don't know how to fix it. Then you throw out the food and you tell your family that they can't have it tonight because it's been oversalted because you can't serve it.
Yeah,
everyone goes to bed hungry.
And you take that on. You say, look, no one's eating tonight, and look, I'm going to take that L. My family's going hungry. I oversalted the food.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet you'll remember next time. Don't oversalt the food because then everyone is pissed and so hungry.
And so this is a cooking competition, and if you serve food that is inedible, can you believe it? You're probably going to be eliminated, and that's what happened to Emily. She's giving the old caboose. So let's listen to Emily get eliminated.
Well, y'all, it's been real. I met some fantastic professionals. This is one of the hardest things I've had to do, saying goodbye. That's the hard part, is I'll miss out on sharing all this with everybody.
Hey, that was so man. You good, man. That's not define who you are as a chef.
I think I have a lot to learn. Everybody has such a different style and background, and bouncing ideas off of such a variety of people has opened, doors creatively. So I'm still solid.
So I feel like this is another example of not understanding the competition you're in, because she doesn't sound like she lost. She's kind of feels like it's more of a, I'm going home, but I won because I learned something here. And yes, you learn from losing, but the point of Top Chef is to be a top chef. And multiple times in the first 3 episodes, Emily said she works at top tier restaurants. So the fact that she's gone home on episode 3 kind of leaves you wanting more.
We have found that so many of the chefs would have done better in the competition if they understood why they were there and what they need, what the super objective of the show was. That seems to be a lot of people have an issue with that. Something I do want to point out, when they were leaving the elimination, Mike gave the hang loose hand sign to Tom as some kind of peace gesture to Tom. But I don't think he knew that, Tom doesn't know that he was talking about beating him up.
Yeah.
But that was a nice little gesture.
Yeah. And Tom said back to him as he walked out, he said, "Yeah, cowabunga, dude."
Now we're back at Turtles again, and it always gets there again. This is a solid episode. This is a good season.
Mm-hmm. I do like this season. And it's like we're getting more to the actual structure that we always see going forward in Top Chef. I realize they do the eliminations where it's them standing and the judges sitting, and it's that the formula is a lot more similar to what we see going forward versus the first season was them sitting across from each other and then them just trying to find ways to pit each other against each other by saying, do you think your dish is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I like this better. It is a good season. Check it out.
If you're not watching along with us, then what are you doing listening to this fucking podcast? Is it because we spent 45 minutes just bullshitting and then 20 minutes talking about the episode?
That's
a good reason.
We want all our listeners to spend 40 minutes watching a television show that came out 10 years ago, and then 3 hours listening to one episode of our podcast that recaps the episode that you just watched, along with clips of the things that you just watched.
And I don't think we're asking for too much, folks. And then maybe leave a review.
Yes.
About the podcast also. I don't think we're asking for much.
Yeah,
and look,
if you think we are asking too much, put that in the review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, it's Hanukkah right now. If you celebrate Hanukkah. And all I want for Christmas or Hanukkah this year is for you to leave a review on our podcast on Apple Podcasts. And tell everyone what you ate for dinner the night before. If you want to, you can say, "I have prepared for you," and then just put whatever you want. It's easy. And the only thing that you risk doing by doing that is embarrassing your family, which is what Carrie has told me I'm doing when I keep saying pizza and other things. She told me to lie about the dinner that we had this time. Because
oh gosh, if you guys have never hung out with Brian and Carrie is the funny one. We wanted her on the podcast. She's too busy. She's booked. But they're a very funny couple. Carrie, again, being the more funny one. But keep going, Brian.
I should see if she would do be a guest.
Oh, she should.
We should have all the wives on. I think that would be fun.
We should have all the wives on.
And that's funny. I don't know why that's funny, but it's funny.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. And I speak for all of us when I say that we are packing our knives and going.
Welcome to Top Chef. Welcome to Pawn Chef. It's Top Chef and it's Pawn Chef, and they're doing the thing, and they're doing the thing, and they're reviewing the episode.